Hi everyone, it's Plastic EP here with his Monkees Cup. Here we come walking down the street with Michael A. Ventrella and Mark Arnold. How are you guys today?
Great.
Good.
That's great. Michael, where are you from? Where are you coming in from?
I'm coming from the Pocono Mountains of the United States, a little bit west of New York City.
That's great. And what about you, Mark? Where'd you fly from?
I am in Springfield, Oregon, which is on the west coast of the U.S.
That's fantastic. Now, you guys have written some fantastic books. And I've got to tell you, before I start, I'm a monkey collector and I collect a lot of things. I want to show you these two books. You obviously know what they are from the 60s, right? That's one. You can see the design. This is two. See how clear that came up? And I'll just show you the back for the Monkees fans there because they obviously don't own that. Look at that. Look at those guys. Anyway, listen. Here's your new book, right? And I love the design. Let's have a look. It's called Headquarted. That's one of the books. And then, as I said, here's your second Monkees book. Let's have a look at that while we got them up. And that's called The Good Times, which is pretty good because, you know, they put out that album Good Times. So that's pretty good. So tell me now about the first book, Headquarted. When you wrote it, what's it about? Tell everybody out there.
Well, I'll start if you don't mind, Mark. Mark had written a book about the Beatles, and he went through every Beatles song. And so what we did is we got together and I said, we should write one like that for the Monkees. And there's Mark holding up his book right now. And so I contacted him and we got together and we wrote a book about all the Monkees songs. So that was the other book. This new one, Headquarters, just came out around January. This one is more of a timeline of their solo years. So we talk about all the solo albums they did. We talk about all the concerts they performed, all the plays they were in, all the movies they were in, and what their solo career was like. Because there's really no book out there that covers all that. And this is the first one. We can talk about the art on the cover too when we get a chance. But Mark, I didn't want to talk too much. So do you want to say anything to that?
Hey, Mark, if you can just tell me the name of your Beatles book since you got it up. Can we see it? And tell me the name of it and where they can get it.
Called Mark Arnold Picks on the Beatles. And it has a Yellow Submarine cover by Bill Morrison, who is a recent editor of Mad Magazine. And he worked on The Simpsons for a number of years. And he completed the Yellow Submarine book. You can order it through Amazon. So
that's fantastic. Have you heard of a book called Where's Ringo?
Not yet.
Is it like Where's Wally or something?
Yeah, exactly. I've got 4 copies. Do you want to have a look at it?
Sure. Where's Ringo?
Okay, so while I have a look at it, I'm going to go away. You guys start talking about your Headquarted books, and I'll be back.
I was going to talk about the covers. The artwork is by Scott Shaw.
I'll hold up the other one.
And, you can hold the other one up. Scott Shaw is a Emmy-winning cartoonist who has worked on the Flintstones and Simpsons and all kind of things. In any event, what happened was for the first book, he decided he wanted to copy the style that was the art from those old Monkees books, which was basically based on it's a mad world, if you remember that poster. So if you look at the back, you flip it over, you can see all the people chasing the Monkees all the ways up to the front. You know, if you look at the book. So the front covers, they're all running away. And the back cover, you can see the rest of them, everyone. And if you look at that, there's so many interesting people in there. He did a great job. Cover helps. And you can see he tried to sort of copy the style from the old books. So we're real happy with him making the covers. Let me put it that way. He's a big fan. He's a big Monkey fan.
Yeah. Let me show you something. I saw this book, and I bought 3 copies because I know it's going to be rare. Where have you seen this book?
Where's Ringo?
Where's Ringo?
Have you ever seen
I actually haven't seen that, no. That's funny.
It's like Where's Wally, but where's Ringo?
Is this when Pete Best was in the group? Or?
No, this is before, but look at this. Look at this. You're going to love this part. You ready? You ready for this? Wait, you ready?
Yeah.
So it should be called Where's Plastic EP?
I was going to say, where's Plastic? I'm going to have to get a copy of that. Oh, that's a great book. We don't have any cutouts on ours.
It does come in hardcover, so it's nice and, you can cut it out if you want.
Yes.
We had a lot of fun.
Getting back to the Headquarted book, right? I want to say something. Now, I'm serious. and you can please come in on this. When the Monkees broke up, right, Mickey claims that he was the last one left. You agree with that? He was the last member that didn't leave the group.
Sort of. Basically, Mickey and Davey were left at the very end, and then Davey went off and did a solo album. So Mickey was sort of the last one left, but there wasn't like a final date. There wasn't like a final day where they sat down and said, "Well, I guess we're finished." You know?
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
It sort of petered out.
Yeah. But their last album was Changes, right?
Right.
Right. So you're with me so far. So if I was Mickey, right, this is me. I would have put out one album, picked the 12 songs, and I would have called it Mickey Monkey with a picture of myself. That would have been part of the catalog, right, in 70, and kept selling it, and I'd be getting the residuals today.
Yeah.
Is that true or not? If that normally happens.
Well, one of the things we talk about in the Headquarters book is the fact that once that happened, Changes bombed. I mean, it didn't even make the top 200.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted them. They were trying to get contracts, and nobody wanted them. I mean, Mickey was trying to put out albums, and none of the studios were interested. Peter was running around going, "What do you mean nobody cares about me?" So for a while in the 70s, things were really bad for them, except for Mike. But even Mike was poor. I mean, he was.
Davey did get an album out. It didn't do very well. It was on Bell Records, but
and he was on Brady Bunch, and that's about it. But really, if you read the book, it's kind of sad because their whole careers went down for quite a while, and it didn't get picked up again until like 20 years ago. It started picking up.
Yeah, again. 86 they came back with a bang. But let me tell you, when he did that song Rainy Jane, that was one of his singles that he did as a solo.
Right, that was around 71 though.
Yeah, as you said on Bell. But I got to say something about the Monkees. This is my opinion, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm growing up with the Monkees here in Australia. I buy every single album. And when a single came out in the 60s, you bought it. I was like 8, 9 years old, and I'm looking at the picture cover because that's a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we got special singles and EPs that are only Australian. Like, for example, this is only Australian, what I'm going to show you.
Mm-hmm.
That's Australian, only Australian. You see what it says?
I want to be free, and you just may be the one.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking show you. See that?
It's kind of in the background there. It's a little psychedelic there.
Yeah, I know. That's what we're going to
well, you get the glare on it. It looks good there. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you bought that. You can see it better now, right?
Yeah.
Let me get it going.
But every country had their own separate things that they would promote.
I know. But what I'm saying is, RCA had control of what the singles were, and this was a big deal when you bought it. And it's actually on the back. It lists their singles and what the code number is. For example, The Girl I Knew, Somebody, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, I'm a Believer, I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, Last Train to Clarksville, Take a Giant Step, which never had a cover. Right? And also, I got to tell you, when this one came out, this is the Australian, right? I'll try and get it right. You can see that. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm a Believer, I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. And again, it lists the
that one's the same as the US picture sleeve. Yeah,
but as I said, it's Australian and made in Australia.
Yeah.
This is the only single at the time, first time ever, that went to number 1 in the US and the UK at the same time. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah,
I didn't.
And then Mike, we talk about Australia in the book because Mike had a big hit with Rio down there that wasn't a hit here in America. And so he was touring Australia, and that's really what got him the idea to create MTV, because he went to Australia and everyone said, "Hey, I like your pop clip." And he went, "Oh, pop clips! What a great idea for a TV show."
But also I got to tell you, Joanne was a big hit here too.
Oh, okay.
Joanne is a great song.
Yeah, it made the top 20 here, but it didn't, which was better than Rio did, because Rio didn't even make the charts at all.
Yeah, but here in Australia, we love the Monkees. And I'll tell you something else. We loved ABBA too. We broke ABBA here in Australia. People are ABBA crazy. And when they came out here in 76, it was ABBA mania.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the Monkees, I got to tell you, this is my opinion, right? So what I'm trying to say is, in the 60s, I bought every single that came out, 45. I bought their albums. But I can tell you, the day the single came out for, the one where they're singing about it, I'm in the gutter. What was that one again? Just D.W. Washburn.
D.W. Washburn, yeah.
Right. The day that came out, the Monkees sank. I'm just telling you. They lost all the teeny bopper fans because that's not even a single. That is like something completely different. So we've gone there from the Monkees down to I'm down and out in the gutter. I think that's what that song's about. You know?
Yeah. It's
sad.
Everyone questions why that was picked as a single. And then, of course, nothing happened for like 8 months after that single. So by the time Head came out, it bombed because everyone had forgotten about them. You know, that
but
was,
I'm going to tell you something.
Idea. Mm-hmm.
Here in Australia, in the 60s, we're behind 6 months, whatever. You know, when Peter left, we didn't even know Peter left.
Okay.
No, you can laugh. But I'll tell you, I'm the biggest Monkees fan there was in '69, right? Mm-hmm. And I got there. I say this all the time, right? The way the record company did things here, I don't even want to comment, right? This album, I got it when I was 11 years old.
Yeah, I used to know.
Yeah.
Sure.
And all my life, I've been traumatized. Why there's no picture of the Monkees on it, right? Yeah. It's ridiculous at 9 years old. No, sorry, 11. And then it's only 5 years ago that I come across this, the real deal that came from New York. And the reason they pulled the plug off it and took the picture away was because Peter left the group. That's my estimation.
I don't know. Who can understand what the record? I don't think they cared much at that point. They just were putting it out and not really caring too much about the Monkees at that point.
I totally agree, but this is important because, as I said, the Monkees are the hottest thing on the planet in 1967. And as I said, the TV show was shown here in 67. It debuted in America September the 9th, right, 66. But as I said, it took a while for us to get it. But once it was here, it was Monkey Mania. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, as I said, since we started hitting D.W. Washburn, we're going down. And then I'm their biggest fan, and I'm the Monkees, you know, the Monkees. Then all of a sudden, gone, no Monkees. And I'm like left there. It's like somebody leaves you and drives away. I was like, I reckon as a young fan, I was distraught.
Changes did that for me. Changes was like, what the hell is this? This is an Archie's album. You know?
But my mind, that's not a bad song. But it's not Last Train to Clarksville, is it?
No, it's not those. I'm not thrilled with that album. And we talk. One of the things that we do in the other book, the Good Times book, is we go through every single song individually and give our opinions and talk about the backgrounds. And Mark and I disagree on a lot of them, so that makes it a little weird. Because there are things I love that he hates and vice versa. So
yeah, but that's good. That's what makes it deep.
Shorty Blackwell. Shorty Blackwell.
Shorty Blackwell, yes. I'm a Shorty Blackwell fan, I know.
Can I say a few songs and see what you come up with?
Okay.
What? The Door into Summer.
That's a good song.
Oh, I love that song. And the live version on the new album is better than the original one, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'll even agree with that. We didn't review the new album, obviously, but I have it, and it's probably the best live album they've ever done.
Yeah.
What about Andy Griselda? That one's a great one, isn't it?
I like Andy Griselda. It's tongue in cheek. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. It's pretty simple. I actually was in a band one time. We played it for fun. You know, it's a fun little song. Don't take it too seriously. I don't like the fact that Peter makes all those noises in the middle of it.
Yeah, but that's like Peter. That's like Peter Percival's whatever it is, picnic, whatever you call it. What's it called?
Peter Percival Patterson's Pet Big Porky.
That's the one. That's off the Headquarters album. I mean, that one's a winner there. You know what I mean? If you're going to do expressions, that's the cut of the year. And also, I got to tell you, you know my favourite song that put me to sleep? Off More of the Monkees. Davey sings it. Come on, you know it. You guess.
Oh, you're talking about
The Day We Fall in Love.
The Day We Fall in Love is what we consider
that one's a beauty. That one.
That is, in this book, it is listed as the worst Monkees song ever of the original 12 albums. You know, not.
Yeah, but thank you. This is what I say all the time.
Oh, it's terrible.
And now we're actually having a real conversation because you guys know what you're talking about.
Terrible.
But let me tell you, I go on the internet and I bag that song, and I don't blame women to come on and go, I love that song. That's my song. Of course it was. It was made for the young kids back then in 67. It was perfect where Davey talks. And you know what? The fastest way for me to fall asleep now is to whack that on and hear it. I love it. I sleep in 5 minutes.
It's the thing that people have to remember is when the Monkees albums came out, when the Monkees TV show was being made, nobody expected people would still be listening to it 50 years later. Rock and roll was still only like 10 years old. It was only 10 years ago that, Chuck Berry was singing Johnny B. Good when this album came out. And so they put their album out not thinking long term. They put out comedy songs because it was a comedy TV show. So they had, Andy Griselda and Gonna Buy Me a Dog.
Exactly.
Nobody was trying to make a great classic album like the Beatles were. They were just making product for TV.
Yeah.
And
Look, Herbert Simmons, it's okay.
The one thing I do like is that they did actually have the wisdom to put it out as an album. They could have put it out as a soundtrack, and we wouldn't be talking about them now. It's like it would have been a short-lived '60s sitcom.
Yeah, but you know about more of the Monkees. You know about that. Don Kirshner got the songs from the TV show. Put the album together. The Monkees are on tour. Don't know anything what's going on. Somebody walks across the road to a record shop. Bang! More of the Monkees takes it back. And Mike and Peter look at it and go, "What's this?"
We do talk about that in the book, yes.
With their wonderful JCPenney clothes.
Let's give due credit where it's due, okay? That album outsold every album, and that album was a gigantic hit for them, whether they liked it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it helps when you have a half-an-hour commercial on TV every week in prime time.
Yes.
You also know about the cover, don't you, of the album, don't you? Do you know about the cover?
The pennies clothes that they were forced to wear.
Yeah, JCPenney.
Yeah, no, there's more to the cover. There's more to the cover. I'm trying to pick your brain. Do you know how they put the cover together?
Splice, if you look, you can see a little splice where they splice the pictures together.
Yeah, exactly. It runs down the tree and down Mike's belt. Well done. You guys know what you're talking about. You get plastic EP points, 10 out of 10. Listen, let's talk about some of these Monkey stinker songs. All right? Mm-hmm. What's another shocking track?
Another what?
Shocking track, a song that's rubbish.
Oh.
From any time, like she's moving in with Rico or something.
Yeah, but they said that's a top song. That's like a cult classic. People love it. Maybe down South America, they're all singing it.
I have less problem with She's Moving In with Rico than some of the other songs on that album. Because at least that has a clever title. The other ones are like,
true.
If you ask me to pick worst songs, I mean, there are a lot of things that came on the missing links that never should have been released in the first place, like Teeny Tiny Gnome, things like that.
I don't mind that one. That's all right. That's like apples, bananas, and pears. If you've got a fruit shop, if you own a fruit shop, that's the hit of the year. But let me tell you now, come on, let's not talk about ones that aren't released. If you want to talk about that, Steam Engine, as far as I'm concerned, is a hit. I don't know why they didn't put it out.
Yeah, that should have been released. I think there was a contractual issue with Chip
Douglas spent a lot of money in the studio doing that song, and the record company didn't want to pick up the tab.
That's what it was. Right. I know there was some reason it wasn't released. It's something stupid, and it finally came out years later. Yeah, obviously.
Give me a couple of songs now from their albums, their catalog. Like the real songs that are stinkers. Come on.
99 pounds.
That's it.
All Alone in the Dark. There you go. You can name almost anything off a chain.
Oh my God. All Alone in the Dark is I can't listen to it. The vocals are just so terrible. Not Mickey. The background vocals are so terrible.
I reckon Rhino Records needs to put out the worst of the Monkees, and we pick the tracks.
All Alone in the Dark would be there. Yeah, I mean, if we're only going to stick with the original 12 albums and not all the missing links and all the extra stuff, it's a little bit easier to pick. There won't be many bad songs, but there will be some.
I'm doing side one, right? The day we fall in love and hold on, girl. I'll whack that in there straight away.
There we go. I don't know what else, Mark. What else is like a really terrible?
I'm trying to.
Can't stand to listen to it. I thought I fell asleep during Peter's one on the Good Times. What was that one? He did an old Carole King song. Wasn't Born to Follow.
Oh yeah.
That was just boring. I mean, it wasn't really terrible. It was just boring.
Well, a lot of people don't like Laugh.
Laugh's all right. But listen, what's that other one? What's that one Peter does, Lady Jane or something, Baby?
So that wasn't on the
Lady's Baby. Yeah, that was an unreleased one. That was like,
that one's a great one. That's a great one.
That was like that George Harrison one where they kept doing it take after take, and they still never released it.
Never released, yeah.
Yeah, but that one's got baby noises in the back.
that particular song is what helped rift between Mike and Peter, because Peter spent thousands and thousands of dollars in the studio recording that, which had to come out of everybody's money. So basically, it's not like it wasn't just Peter's bill. Mike was pissed that he had to pay for Peter spending all this time in the studio in order to get out of his contract. So that didn't help. That was one of the reasons they had a rift. He spent so much money on that type of stuff. And then Peter was shocked when the Monkees split up. He thought he'd be a big star, and nobody wanted him.
Yeah, but I just want to say something. He had a band called Release, and they released nothing.
Yeah, they didn't release anything. Yeah, they never got released.
And then people like Dick Clark, he would go up to him, who was like the Monkees' friend a year before, and he says, "Put me on tour." And Dick Clark would say, "Where's your hit?" And it's like, because, oops, silly Peter, he didn't have too many songs other than Your Auntie Griselda and a couple on Head, and that's about it.
Anyway, listen, in all real sense, we love Peter and we love Davey, and out of respect, didn't matter what song they did, all those songs had a purpose, as I said. Even The Day I Fall in Love, if you heard that in 1967 and you were 12 years old, you're in love. Did nothing for me now because I'm in my old age, right? But, back then, that was like music to a girl's ear. It's true.
Well, and you can still be used to put yourself to sleep now, so it just still has a purpose.
Exactly.
I think they were trying to appeal to everybody. They put that to appeal to girls. They put the more comical songs to appeal to guys. It's like I could tell you the first time I heard "Gonna Buy Me a Dog," I was probably like 5 or 6. I was on the Dr. Demento show, which was a radio show back. Well, he's still on now on syndication, I think, but. He'd play all these weird novelty records, like the one they talked about. They're coming to take me away and stuff like that. And I just love that stuff. And I go, wow, the Monkees did that. That's great. That's funny. That's a 6-year-old for you. So.
I got a friend called Stu Hirsch, and he put out a song called Disco Toilet. That's a big hit too. That's a beauty. Anyway, listen. Getting back to, I'm going to buy me a dog. It was great for the show when they're running around. Peter's in that dog van. They're sticking their head out the window. And I like it when they crack the joke. I just got back from Africa. Yeah. What happened? He goes, do you win or lose? He goes, lose. Like you got to get the jokes.
No, I won. No,
you lose.
The problem with that kind of song is that it's funny the first time. And it doesn't stand up to repeated listenings. In the way, as I say in the book, in the way that a Frank Zappa humor song does. Because a Frank Zappa humor song, you can enjoy the humor, but then after the humor's gone, there's still a good song underneath there that you can still enjoy. Whereas I'm Gonna Buy Me a Dog is pretty simple. There's not much there.
Yeah. Well, the story there. They were goofing around in the recording studio, and Boyce and Hart just let the tape run, and they were happy with what they heard, and they just left everything there and the jokes and that, and they put it on the first album, and it's a great song.
Well, they did want him to sing it straight, and Mickey kind of rolled his eyes and said, "You got to be kidding."
Well, the thing that bothered me when I was a kid was listening to the album, going, "Why aren't Peter and Mike saying anything? They're there too, right?" Because when I was a kid, I'm like, where are the other two guys? Why aren't they saying anything?
Yeah, but I got to explain. I'll explain there what happened when they started doing recording sessions. Boyce and Hart would do recording sessions with them, and the four would be there at the start. And they'd be rolling around the floor fighting, and they said, "We've had enough. You guys don't come in as four anymore. You come in separately." That's what happened. Do you know that?
Yeah, until Headquarters, yeah. But my point is, as a kid listening to it, that's what I thought. I thought.
Yeah, I did too. I thought, I thought all four should be on all tracks, but that's just thinking like the TV show. It's like.
Exactly.
Anyway, my favourite Mike song was "You Just Might Be the One," but you know what? Over the years. And I'm talking 50 years, the girl I knew somewhere from War of the Monkees, to me, that just come through, because when you see the show and it starts off the episode, that song it's just great.
No, and that is the first song that all of them are actually playing on, which is good too. And that shows that they can play a song, and play the parts. Peter's lead on the keyboard is wonderful. It adds a lot to the song. That is definitely one of the better songs that they have. I don't disagree.
Also, Daydream Believer, when we bought the single, goes, "What numbers is Jim?" 7A. Okay, man, because I'm sure I mean, it takes you a while to realise what he said there.
Yeah. And now there's a record company called 7A based on that song that's releasing all these new albums. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do some good releases too.
Yes,
Mickey
they're doing a great job of packaging. I'll give them that too.
Mike Nesbitt, yeah. Yeah, getting back to you guys about the books, right?
Sure.
The two Monkees books. I want to know, where can they buy these fantastic books?
I don't want to.
Okay,
Go ahead, Mark.
on Amazon or at bearmanormedia.com. That's bear like the grizzly bear or whatever. It has a panda bear as a logo, but bearmanormedia.com, and it's available in hardback, paperback, and ebook.
Now, I'm going to ask you.
Go to our webpage, which is monkees.wordpress.com. So if you go to the monkees.wordpress.com, you can read reviews, you can see interviews that we talked about the book, you can read about some of the things that we're putting in there, you can see samples, and you can order it from that page as well.
Yeah,
Mike, I'm going to ask you now, just for a sec, the good times one, I don't want to cover your face too long, but tell me, what's in that?
That's the one where we go through every individual song. We do them in order.
Okay, that's great.
And by doing that in order where they're recorded, that way you can see how the music changed over the years. Because sometimes they'd record a song in 1967 and it wouldn't be released till like 1970. And it really sounded out of place. So that's why we put the songs in order of recording date as opposed to release date. And we put every song in there. I mean, all the songs are on Missing Links, all the little, extra songs are on Headquarters, sessions. Sometimes Mark and I argued about that, of course.
I put Stu Phillips music, just incidental music from the TV show, and he's like, "Why? I was like, I like it complete."
So it's complete.
What's the name of the guy? What's the name of the guy that did all the instrumentals on the TV show? His name was Stu something, wasn't it?
Stu Phillips.
Yeah.
Stu Phillips.
That's it.
And I actually interviewed him briefly for the book. We interviewed a few different celebrities for the book. I interviewed Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits. I interviewed Butch Patrick from the Munsters, and David Peel before he passed away. Actually, I talked to him briefly. He was a huge Monkees fan.
And I interviewed Howard Kalin and got him to write an introduction, from the Turtles and Flo and Eddie and the Mothers Invention. And who else did I talk to?
Andy Martin.
Thank you. The guy did thank you. Tommy James.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you.
Friedman.
We move away from the Monkees now. I want to know about this book here.
All right.
There's your Monkees book, Across the Universe. Tell me about that.
This is the book.
Michael's book.
That's Michael. Mark had nothing to do with that. I write fiction. I have a bunch of novels out, and I don't write as much nonfiction. But what happened was I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a book of stories about the Beatles as if they were something else? So what if the Beatles were superheroes? What if the Beatles were aliens? What if they had made a deal with the devil? What if Peter, Best had stayed in the band? And it's all what if stories. And I got a whole bunch of famous science fiction writers to write stories for it, like Spider Robinson and Gail Martin and David Gerald and some pretty big names. Because everyone's like, Beatles, well, that's really cool. So it's a fiction book. It's a book of fiction stories about the Beatles, but it's fun. It's meant to be somewhat silly. You don't take it too seriously. And it's kind of fun seeing them in different personalities. Gregory Frost, for instance, did a story called, oh boy, how do I phrase it? I'm trying to remember it. Anyway, it's the Beatles as the Marx Brothers. And so it starts off sort of like both A Night at the Opera and A Hard Day's Night. That's what it is. It's A Hard Day's Night at the Opera. That's what it's called. And so they're on a train, like both of those movies start, and it just goes on. It gets crazier and crazier after that, And so everyone's taking some fun with it, and it's not a book. It's not a nonfiction book. It is fictional and meant to be just fun. Michael,
where do you get that book from?
Same thing. You can get it on my webpage at michaelaventrella.com. There's links there. Amazon has it. Everyone has it. It's available in hardcover, paperback, ebook. And it's a lot of fun. You can get it just anywhere. If you go to your bookstore, if you can find a bookstore that's open, you can request it, and they can always order it for you if you don't want to do it through Amazon.
Now, guys, I'm going to say something. It's been a buzz interviewing you guys. I want to tell you, but this is what we're going to do now. When we say goodbye, it's going to take you 5 minutes. I want you to make a list of the 10 worst Monkee songs, and one of them comes to mind now. It's Nice to Be With You. That was a great one. That one.
It was okay.
I think there's just more good than bad on Monkees songs, to be honest.
So anyway, what I'm saying is I think we should compile a list. We don't tell each other what the list is of 10 of the worst Monkees songs, right? But I'm talking on their catalogue, not missing links or anything like that.
Okay.
And let's do another interview and go through our list without no one knowing. So I don't want you, Michael and Mark, to liaise, all right? I don't want you to tell each other what you're doing.
Yeah, we don't want to do it right now, but yeah, we'll get a list together.
Okay.
We'll get it together and we'll come back on. I want to say, you guys, it's been a buzz. I've really enjoyed the interview, and I'm sure you have too. So from Plastic EP, and I'll let you guys say goodbye.
Hi, I'm Michael Ventrella. Goodbye. Buy my books.
Hi, I'm Mark Arnold, and buy my books too.
All right, guys, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. See you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.